While I was in the Philippines, I had it like nearly every night for the second part of the trip because there was a night market and you could literally just get anything, and they sold all this like weird or traditional food, and one of the vendors was raw mango, and I just went there every night. It was great.
So this is my friend Haley.
Hello.
We've been friends for a while now, but recently she visited a family in the Philippines. After seeing all of her Instagram posts, I just had to interview her. I really had no idea about what life was like there, so she let me into her house, fed me some raw mango, and told me all about it.
Generally eat it with shrimp paste or hot sauce, or salt and soy sauce, which is what we're doing tonight because that's all I have. But yes, you can just grab the mango.
So you grab like a yellow piece? If you're
that piece is good.
Weak.
That'd be a good piece. And then you just like put in the salt and the soy sauce as well.
That's really weird.
Really weird?
It like hit me strangely.
Like good weird or bad weird?
You know,
weird.
You know when you get to the end of a chip packet, right?
Okay.
And you just sort of are licking the crumbs because it tastes so good, but it's really strong.
Yes.
That's the flavor. Oh wow.
No, it was great. I ended up at the meeting my family at the airport, and I was just surrounded by so much love, so much love, and I felt like I was always such a lost human being because I just know nothing about my mom, I know nothing about my dad.
Yeah.
And then they just with open arms welcomed me, gave me all these cuddles, and I was meeting everyone for the first time. I didn't even know their names, so I just felt compelled to cuddle everyone. They were like, "Oh, you're our cousin." It was about a 3-hour drive from the airport in the main city to where my auntie lived, and she lives in the mountains. That was really cool, although I thought I was gonna die maybe 7 times on the way.
You're alive.
Yes, I'm alive on the way to the mountains, because literally the roads there consist of they're narrow roads, and there'll be like 2 lanes, but apparently 2 lanes means that 3 cars can just drive side by side, and everyone would be weaving in and out, and you'd see motorcycles like weaving in at the last minute in between cars. And I remember my uncle, we were driving forward, obviously.
Yeah.
And then
backwards.
yeah, backwards. And he gets into, so they drive on the right lane.
Yeah.
He gets into the left lane, which is the other direction, and he speeds up, and he's doing like 120, 130 Ks. And the other car in front of us is doing 120, 130 Ks, and we are like head on now. And he last minute gets into the other lane, and all he was doing was trying to get around a car. And I'm like, why did you need to overtake? It's fine, just follow the traffic. But no, if you got places to see and shit to do, apparently in the Philippines it's free game. What? And I laughed because my uncle slowed down, and he's like, there's a speed limit here of 90. And I was like, brilliant. Everyone was wondering why I was taking so long to use the bathroom, like so long. And I went to the toilets, and everyone had found a cubicle and just gone in. And I was like, that lady just pushed in front of me. This lady also pushed in front of me. Everyone's pushing in front of me. I found out that you stand at a door, and if that door opens, you go in. Oh, okay. And I was just standing there waiting and waiting. And so it took me half an hour to go to the bathroom, and everyone was just so severely confused. And my mom explained to all my family, in Australia we have lines. You can't do that. Like, a line is where everyone has a place, and they all stand and wait. But yes. So that was interesting. Had the bajau come to the house and say that they would dance for us, and they danced, and we tried to offer them money, and this is the first time in my life I've ever seen this happen. He said, no, I don't want the money, I want food. Yeah. And I was like so shook. I was like, wait, hang on a minute, but you can buy food with this money. And I don't think he understood the concept. It was just like so foreign to him. And he's like, no, food, like really hungry. And unfortunately we could only give him scraps because we had eaten everything that night. And that's another thing. I find that at dinner time, not a single thing is wasted. And even when I visited my cousins, if I shout them food, they'll only order what they can stomach. They won't go, oh my god, Haley's around, like it's a feast, we have money, and then we're gonna order everything and try everything in the menu.
Yeah, we
no,
always do
it's
that,
like it's like, no, I'll order one rice and then one staple meal.
Yeah.
And then that'd be it. And I'm like, order more, guys, like order more, get excited. And they're just not understand that. And so not a single thing goes wasted. And I remember I bought one of my cousins a cell phone, and you know how the SIM card you need like a little needle to poke through? Yeah. Well, I asked her for one, and I was like, oh, can I have a dagum, which is the word for needle? Yeah. And she gave me the needle. And from my understanding, it's literally the only needle they have. So they only have like the bare basics. And so if anyone's clothes get screwed up, they need to sew, they have that one needle. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe they have a whole kit they don't know about. Yeah. But one thing's for sure, I need to borrow a pair of scissors to cut the SIM card to size so it would fit in the phone properly. They had one pair of scissors and the handle had been like broken and the scissors were like on their very last leg, but because it's still usable they don't throw it out because everything there is precious. Like there is no room for mistakes. I noticed that we were driving along the highway and there was a guy and he had his motorbike and it was just stacked to the top with coconuts and like eggs, and I just feel like that's that man's livelihood. Like if he falls over or gets in an accident or if the eggs drop, that's it. That he probably can't afford to get another batch to sell, or he probably would have to wait before he could eat anything because of farming. And my mum would tell me stories like when she grew up on the island, she had no electricity, no food, barely any clothing, and she couldn't finish school because they didn't have money to go to school. And my mum said that she told me this story that really hit hard, that when she was a little girl she used to look in the mud to see if any fish had gotten trapped because she was so hungry and she's looking for something to eat. And she told me that one day that her neighbor, who was a bit more well off, had a plastic bag. And when I say plastic bag, I mean like, you know, like a very standard plastic bag.
Like when you get,
over there they call it cellophane. They're like, if you have any cellophane, that's a plastic bag. And she told me that she begged and begged and begged her neighbor to have the plastic bag so she could put some things in it. And because she didn't have anything, and that she wanted to use it to bring to school and carry some things. And she told me that her neighbor ended up giving it away to, I think, his niece or something, so gave it to someone else. And my mum like cried so much because to her that plastic bag would have meant everything. Yeah. Because like she just had so very little. And now we're in Australia and it's like plastic bags for everyone. But yes. So it's a different lifestyle over there. We were walking for about 20 minutes and my little cousin says to me, I need to grab something from this place. I was like, oh, okay. And it was like a little nipper hut. You might need to Google that. But
yeah, I don't know what that means.
It's like, think of like a little hut made from bamboo or reeds and stuff that's been woven together. Yeah. And it was literally the smallest thing I've ever seen, and it was going up on an incline and it was all mud going up. And my cousin turns to me and says, oh, this is my house. I was like, this your house? Like, really? really, this is your house? And she's like, let me show you my house.
Yeah.
And we get to this little door, and the door won't open fully, and when you poke your head inside, you can see that the whole bed takes up the entire room, like the entire bed.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, so he lives here. Is this just like, this is it? And she's like, yeah, my brother sleeps here, my other brother, my sister, my mum, and my brother's girlfriend. And they all share this bed. And I was like, oh, do you have a light? And to get the light on, they had to literally scoop their hand in between the wall and look for the wire and the little clip that clips into place to turn the light on. It was just one light.
Yeah.
In fact, I could show you a picture of what
Yeah.
that place looked like. And it just was really sad. And the floor wasn't proper. It was more or less like just mud and just like a thin mat of some kind. And I looked to the roof, and it's literally, I could barely like stand, like it was low, and the roof was made from rice sacks that had been sewn together, and when it rains, water gets in and mud gets in, and my auntie had told me that snakes get in too, and there'd been some occasions where she's woken up and there's been a snake in the bed, like with them.
Yeah.
And like for me, that's just absolutely terrifying.
Like that's such a difference from
Yeah.
here and
Yeah,
it being your
definitely.
own family as well.
Definitely. And then the worst part is I found out that my auntie doesn't even own that house.
Yeah.
She's renting it. Also, on about day 2 or day 3, I was trying to eat with my hands, but I'm not really used to it because Westernized, we use a fork and spoon or knife, but over there they use their hands. But I was using my hands to pick out all the bones of the fish because they were giving me fish, and it was a very bony fish.
Yeah.
And I was so slow, whereas over there they eat fish all the time, so they're just used to picking it out really quickly and just eating it. And my uncle, I don't know if it's going to have the same effect because I say it in English, but my uncle said in Filipino, in a very curious, interesting way, he says, oh, this girl is something really different. She eats so slowly. It's so nice to watch. Like, she eats very slowly. It's very, very nice to watch. And she's different. I think she's a Phil-Am, like a Filipino American. She's like got the heart of a Filipino. Like, did you hear what she did for those kids? She bought them bread and was handing them out. Because the day before I had bought bread and was giving them out to all the little kids.
Yeah.
And he was like so shocked at that. But he was watching me eat, and he said that I ate very slowly, and it was so beautiful to watch. And my mum explained that because we don't go hungry in Australia, we can sort of take our time and eat, whereas over there they sort of like everything they can get, they just quickly eat. And like their priorities are not manners, their priorities is medical treatment, education, like food, like all these like little trivial things that go eat with your mouth closed. For them, that doesn't really compute. They just don't understand it. And we went shopping later that day, and my uncle saw me again, and I was walking extremely fast.
Yeah.
And he was just really confused, like, wow, she walks fast. And in my opinion, I think I'm a really slow walker, but to them, I must be walking really fast. And my mum explained that in Australia, everyone's doing something, like everything is like focused. Like you got to go to work, you got to go to school, you got to go to uni. If you go to the gym, you go to the gym. If you have to go to a party, you go to a party. Whereas in the Philippines, it's almost, even though it's such a fast-paced environment and it's such a, how do you explain, like a kill world? Like,
I think the explanation before about the traffic is a good explanation.
Yeah.
Like you got things to do and
yeah. So even though it's like that, a lot of their days are spent wondering like where the next meal is going to come from, or how they're going to make money, or there's a lot of processing time and there's downtime where people just sit because there's literally nothing they can do. Like, they don't have money to go to the gym, they don't have money to go to a party or to go shopping. It's just not a regular thing. So you just do nothing, literally nothing, until you figure out, okay, I'm going to pick the vegetables because I could sell them because I'm going to make money, or, and then there'll be days where they're working absolutely hard and then days where they just do nothing. And in Australia, it's not like that. It's like everything's by appointment, like by schedule. Like, okay, I got to be
schedule and relaxing time. And
like, I got to work at this time. I got to do this thing. And that was my mum's explanation as to why I was walking so fast, because I got stuff to buy, people to see, things to do.
Got it. Yeah.
Yes.
I like that explanation. I personally think it's hilarious of the thought of you eating the fish slowly and it being beautiful, but I also imagine you also eating it slowly because you're fumbling trying to get the fish pieces out.
Yes, I didn't think it was elegant at all, but it warmed my uncle's heart because even though I'm 22 years old, they all see me as like a child over there, like a lost puppy who just doesn't know the way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Is it because you're foreign that they?
I think so. I think so.
I'm guessing another 22-year-old though would be like, wouldn't think of it as a child.
Yes, but on another token, with my mum's other cousin, his daughter, so my cousin, said that I seemed very independent for my age because I was doing all of these things. I was telling her my schedule. She said to me that in the Philippines, if you're a student, you don't work because your focus must be on your studies.
Yeah.
Whereas here in Australia, our lives are more, we want to be independent from our parents.
Yeah.
Or if not, our parents make us be independent. Whereas over there, it's very much like, no, I'll pay for everything, I'll support you, and I'll pay as much as I have, even though I don't have anything, if it means you're going to get good grades. And like working and studying at the same time is very foreign to them. Very foreign. It's just like not a thing. Unless they have nobody and they cannot afford to put themselves through school, they will get a job. But if they have parents, and parents who are willing to do so, which is most of the time.
Is it because you think like the value of education is much higher?
Yes.
Like, I feel like we have education, but we also sort of like throw it as something you have to do.
Yes. And their family values are very much sharing, whereas I think the family values in Australia is we'll be there for each other, but we all live our separate lives. Like, we all have our own jobs and we get together for family events, but in the Philippines, like, you'll have 8 people in a room crammed together. Like, it's all about sharing and sharing spaces, sharing belongings, and sharing the load and the work that needs to be done, or if there's any chores. It's like that. So, yeah. Turns out my mum's clan is absolutely massive. So, on the 4th or 5th day, this was the main reason for the trip. My mum wanted to visit her auntie who's like 87 years old.
Yeah.
And so that's my mum's cousin's mum.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
We may need to caption that. But
mum's cousin's mum. That is the definition of an auntie, right?
Yes.
My cousin's mum is my auntie. Yeah.
Yeah. So we went to go visit her. And it was really emotional because every night, Mum and I, well, nearly every night, since I was a little girl, even still now, we still talk about her life. And my mum told me that her life on the island, how poor she was, that she didn't think she was going to make it, and all she had was her dreams, that she had absolutely nothing. And she told me that she always dreams of going back to the island one day and shouting everyone food and just being like, hey, look, I made it.
Yeah.
She hasn't been back in 30 years.
Yeah.
In 30 years, she hasn't been back. So the people of the island, which is very remote, they don't know she's alive. So Mum always said to me that she was worried about, you know, all the people, old people, neighbors, friends, of them dying. For one, people age, and for two, like, it's the Philippines. Sometimes lifespan over there is sort of unpredictable. And at the reunion, Mum was introducing me to all of these family members, and we never went to the island, by the way. I'll just say that. We didn't go to the island, but this reunion was like near the Davao city.
Yeah.
And we're meeting all my family, and my mum said, just talk Filipino to her. She completely understands you guys. Like, she'll just reply back in English.
Yeah.
And everyone thought that my mum was just bullshitting. Like, that's the most craziest thing to ever say. And then my mum, through the reunion, we all gave speeches, and my mum said hers in Filipino, and it was the most heartfelt speech, and I was so proud of her.
Yeah.
And she more or less said, like, we were so poor, we had nothing to eat, but now I'm back here with family, and we're joined together, and we have something to eat, and that, you know, our kids are now being educated, and we didn't think this was gonna happen. And I just lost my cool. I just started crying, and at that very moment, all the family members were like, oh, so she does understand Filipino. So that's true, she can understand, because her mom's speaking Filipino and she's now crying. And I just had like a swarm of like aunties, baby cousins just like cuddling me like, it's okay. And I was like, oh, I'm just really feeling it. Anyways, back to what I was saying about the island, how my mum was saying that she was worried about people, you know, passing away, and just she has major regrets that she hasn't gone back sooner, because some of the people that she knew have already passed on.
Yeah.
After the reunion, the following day, my mum said goodbye to her auntie, like, oh, we're leaving now, and
It's my heart gonna break.
it was very, very emotional, because she said that, you know, auntie, you've always been, she said this all in Filipino, but this is the gist. Auntie, you've always been so nice to me, and we were so poor, we had nothing to eat, but it is so good to see each other after all this time. And for me, that was kind of like her seeing the old people of the island, and it was a big deal. It was a huge deal, because we had spoken about this moment, and even though we hadn't gone back to the island, it was like bringing a little bit of closure that she was able to see family and see, you know, I guess one of the elders and her elder family members. So I cried a lot.
Yeah. I was just like, oh. So like, how was your emotions going into it, and then sort of as you went through the trip? How long was the trip? Like,
it was only 10
day by
days.
day.
Yeah.
How was your like?
It was
before
only,
you left.
Yes, it was only 10 days.
Yeah.
And at the start of the trip, I was like, yeah, I'm just here to accompany my mum. I wasn't really fussed about going. I didn't really care too much. But by the end of it, it just got so heavy, man. Just so heavy. But I'm glad I went. I'm really glad I went.